Welcome, everybody. Once again, it's Thursday. It is the day after signing day. It is the Breakfast Burrito right here on YSN. I am DJ Yoakley. With me, as always, my partner in crime. He is the voice of East Liverpool. He is my main man, Tommy Pease. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, DJ. How are you? I'm back, and so is LeBron James.
You're not kidding. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But, man, what a game last night from not only the Cavs, but the 48-minute man, LeBron James, coming through in the clutch down the stretch. If you didn't watch it, make sure you get the instant replay today, probably all over ESPN, because they had the coverage. And it was, I thought, one of the best games all year.
Yeah, it was a great game. Like you said, I know we'll touch on it later, but it was exciting. Went into overtime, and they put the ball in LeBron's hands in the fourth quarter, and the shot just didn't fall, hit the left side of the rim. But in overtime, they went right back to the man, and the King James delivered with a buzzer beater to hopefully right this ship for Cleveland. But we'll see.
Passes it to the man, and boom goes the dynamite. I don't know if you ever seen that? The boom goes the dynamite kid?
No.
Oh man, you have to Google that. The boom goes dynamite kid's one of the reasons that it happened while I was in college, but one of the greatest broadcasting calls of all time. So write that one down, buddy. You're gonna appreciate it.
Boom goes the dynamite. I'm writing it down right now.
Kid. It's gonna make you uncomfortable, but you'll watch it about 10 times. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel better about your day, no matter where you are or in life. You'll feel better about it. And he's still, it's funny. He's still out there broadcasting somewhere is the last thing that I heard. So it'll be interesting to see your take on that later this afternoon, hopefully tomorrow morning on the burrito. So
yeah, I'll be ready.
Hey, we got Free Agent Friday tomorrow. You got any free agents you want to sign to the show? We've got a special guest coming up today, but I'd like to see another guest on the show tomorrow. I had pick last time. Who do you got coming in?
You're gonna have to wait and see, I guess, because I wasn't prepared for me to select the Free Agent Friday guy, but I'll definitely get us a Free Agent Friday. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, it's definitely your pick, my friend, because today we have a special guest. He is the new host of the Social Circus on YSN. You know him from all his coverage of Crestview and South Range with me in the late football season. He is the voice of the Crestview Rebels. He is Mr. Rocky Brown, content director here at YSN. Rocky, what's up, brother?
How you guys doing? It's early in the morning. I don't know how you guys do this all the time.
It is. You're the night owl. I was telling Tommy before we got on the air that I was up till 3 a.m. watching the new Star Wars. So I'm not used to staying up that late anymore. I'm an old man, so I got to be in bed about 8 o'clock. But man, I'll tell you what. Yeah, you're right. In the morning, this is people power. So this is we're trying to give the best coverage to the people who need that local coverage, that regional coverage, and of course the national coverage that they get the straight talk. So that's what we try to bring them, brother. We got some great topics today, and one of the main reasons I wanted you to be on the show was so you and Tommy can battle a little bit and talk about DFS. You're both just absolute monsters in daily fantasy sports. You know it up and down. Rocky, you feature it a lot on Twitter. You have a lot of great conversations, not only with Greg, but with people like high up. I saw you guys got into a little bit of a Twitter spat last night, it looked like.
There was some huge DFS news last night.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that, and you can kind of explain what's going on. So we appreciate you being on the show. Some of the things we're going to talk about in the local wrap today is going to be signing day. Snow day did have an effect on signing day yesterday here locally. I believe there was 40 football players that signed. I saw one soccer player and a couple other athletes sign. We have a signing today on YSN at Columbiana High School, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody else kind of shows up to that. I'm excited for this young man. He's a young man headed to Division III, WNJ, and we are in discussions to have him intern here at YSN. So we're excited to bring him on board. So let's get right to it. Yesterday, guys, signing day across the nation. I picked up some of the ESPN coverage locally here. I kept my eyes peeled on WKBN, WFMJ. We had some signings on Tuesday. was there any surprises to you guys, from either from the local athletes or from, where they ended up signing? Tommy, we'll start with you, and then Rocky, if you don't mind chiming in after that.
I don't follow the signings as much as you guys do up that way. I know you said you had a lot of guys that signed yesterday locally. The biggest surprise for me was the old okey doke that they pulled, the one that's making national news today, where the whole family basically shows up in crimson red, all Alabama'd out. Mom's wearing an Alabama hoodie or a Tennessee hat, and Florida's completely off the table. And the young man, he goes and he says, "You know what? I'm going to Florida." And he picks up the Florida hat and puts it on, and Mom walks out of the room. She's all mad. So that was the most surprising story of the day, I think, nationally for us. But you guys would have the wrap on the local stuff, so let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rock is pretty close, and he follows Twitter really well. I mean, he was the one that actually alerted me when Anello Bazzacco committed to Robert Morris. So Rocky's our social media expert. He's our guy. Rock, were there any surprises yesterday for you around the area? I know we've talked about it at length, about the coverage that YSN brings to these kids, and kind of what we bring to the table and what they bring to the table, and what we try to do. When you were looking through and scouting through the reports, was there anybody that really stood out to you as a huge surprise and where they went?
I mean, really, the thing that stood out to me most about signing day was the lack of signings from around the area. There's some top talent that we see every week, week in, week out, and they hadn't signed anywhere, and that really surprised me. I thought that a lot of coaches missed out on a lot of quality young men.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think there's a lot of people still waiting for their shoe to drop here locally, and like you said, the talent's there. It's just, I think, probably the money. What's left after the recruitment process ends. So we're going to, like I said, there's not, I don't believe there's an athletic scholarship at stake because it is Division III at WNJ, but we'll see what Mr. Brierly, spoiler alert, we'll see what Jared Brierly, comes up with. And I know he's excited to be headed over to the presidents and into the president's athletic conference over there in Washington, Pennsylvania. But I mean, for me, the surprise, but it was a good surprise, was 12 players committing to YSU, and YSU on a really down year this year was able to scoop up local talent. That's something that Jim Tressel did so many years ago so well. He made sure that if there was any local talent, it didn't leave the area. It stayed right here, and that's how they won their national championships around Jimmy T. Yesterday, 12 athletes signed on to be Penguins, including a couple really, really talented, local athletes, obviously, but one from Liberty, a 3-star athlete. I think it's Dre Rushton, if I'm not mistaken, committing. A lot of kids from Poland, all over the place. Michael Belsic from Girard. That was a huge Johnny Gabriel broke that for us on YSN. We had it before anybody else. We were excited about that. But, I mean, some of the other ones, you look at a Mark Wade going to Dartmouth. That's huge news. That's local talent going in a very big direction. And then you look at, you look at some of these: Ashland, Baldwin Wallace, Slippery Rock, YSU, Clarion, California University of Pennsylvania, Wayne State, Mercyhurst, Akron, Teal, again, Westminster, Notre Dame, Ohio, Ashland, Baldwin Wallace. These players are everywhere. And then you look at, locally here, one of our first signees with YSN, Mitch Davidson, Rock, and Chase Ackerman. Mitch is headed to YSU, and Chase is headed to West Virginia State. The talent's there, guys. What do you think is the main draw holding some of these guys back from bigger scholarships, Tommy?
YSU, that's pretty big, right? If you go to YSU to play football, that's a Division I AA school, and hats off to those guys. Davidson was a wide receiver at Salem? He was, yep. Yeah, he was really good in the Liverpool game that I seen him this year. He's got a lot of size. That's exciting. you're saying like local guys not signing bigger places. I mean, I heard Akron. I heard Akron in there. Who signed at Akron? That's huge.
Let me scroll up. We have Jalen Hooks from Warren Harding signed at Akron. Who else do we have here? Dante Rozo went from where he's from Poland. He's going to Ohio. Ashland, YSU. I mean, I guess the better question. Hunter Meyer from Hubbard's going to Akron as well.
That's big time.
Yeah, I guess the better question is with all this local talent, there's more, in my humble opinion, there's more than 40 athletes and football players out there that deserve better or bigger scholarships, I guess, for lack of a better term, because we are a hotbed here in Northeast Ohio. Wouldn't you agree with Brock?
Yeah, I look at it and I think there's a lot of things at work. I sat down with Dylan Baker. We were talking at a basketball game recently, and he said we play against these talent that are moving on to bigger levels, and we're competing. And I don't think people look at it that way. They look at Crestview as a small school. You don't get the scouts out there. People aren't taking notice, and they need to be, because these guys, they can really help a football team at the next level. And I mean, it's going to change with coverage. It'll change. And that's, thanks to your brainchild, really.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Rocky's right. With coverage, it's going to change, and it's not just coverage, wise. It's coverage on everything. These elite athletes who are signing these big time contracts, they put together basically a package or a media package for themselves starting in like the 7th grade nowadays. I mean, it's crazy. You go on YouTube and social media. The kids that get the most coverage are, come from the families or the people around them who put the most effort into putting these kids out there and letting their talents be showcased outside of just, us here in the local area and people that come to see them, or actually just scouts that come to the game. So, with everything in life, it's all about effort. And the more effort that the athlete puts in, the more effort that the athlete's family puts in showcasing their talents, the bigger signings and the bigger schools are going to come. So, that's a good point, Rocky. It's all about coverage, and especially in today's world with all the media that we have in front of us. So.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you both on that. I think that's a great point. And one of the founding pillars of what we stand for here at YSN is we want to help lift everybody, all these kids. So there are more. There's 40 yesterday. Next year, let's cross our fingers for double that. Let's cross our fingers for 80, and that in hopes that these kids have a chance to not only go to college and play football or play, at the next level, but they also have the opportunity to get a great education at a reasonable price for all their hard work and dedication that they've had over the years. So I know it'll help their parents out, and their parents will sit there and be our biggest cheerleaders if we can help them do that. So, that's a wrap on that one. I just wanted to touch on it real quick about the signing day and how cool it was. And I'm looking forward to seeing. Have either one of you guys ever been to a signing day like that?
No, I've never been.
I've been in the school, when it's going on, or in the room where the picture's been taken, but nothing, no big time signings.
It's a cool moment. It's I was on hand for Peyton Remish over at South Range. I almost called it the other word. Don't want to do that because I think I'd get a call from Coach Yeagley here in about 30 seconds. But I think it's one of those things where you have to be there and really understand like what it means to the kids, to the student athlete, because Peyton waited 4 years, and these kids wait 4 years to sit in that chair. The hard work, the dedication, the hours in the weight room, the hours in the classroom, finally paying off. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good family, and a lot of these parents and these families set their kids up for success. So it'll be exciting to see how many of these we can cover over the years. And I talked to Brian Allison over at WKBN and just told him how great of a job he did in the coverage, because it was a snow day. It was terrible outside. It was 11, 12 inches of snow on the ground. And these people had to be committed to go and not only cover it, but the high schools and the administration and the families that had to go to the school, even if it was closed, to put on a good show. So hats off to everybody involved yesterday. Congratulations to all the signees, not only here locally, but nationally. Your hard work has paid off. And we're excited to cover you and to talk to you soon. So, guys, there was something else on TV last night. Tommy, we alluded to it a little bit earlier before Rocky hopped on. LeBron James. That's all I got to say. What an absolute unbelievable game. Tommy, you hit the nail on the head when we talked a little bit about it. 48 minutes the guy played last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was either going to be a really good night or a really bad night for the Cavs after the performance that LeBron James put together. They went to him in the fourth quarter there, took a three-pointer. Felt like they could have got a better shot out of him there, but they went for the home run off the left side of the rim. And then here we go into overtime. They go right back to him on an inbound play, cuts back and hits a little floater while fading away to hit the game winner for the Cavs. And you got to think to yourself, is this the moment where the season turns around for the Cleveland Cavaliers? You know, we talked about yesterday on the show how down everybody is on them, and we asked ourselves what has to happen for the Cavs to turn it around, and I said LeBron James has to happen for the Cavs to turn around, and last night LeBron James happened. You said it, 48 minutes. I mean, he should have, we're going to talk about daily fantasy sports later. You know, a guy's going to play 48 minutes. He's in your lineup, and he should have been last night, put together a triple-double, just a fabulous performance by LeBron James in a high-scoring affair against a Minnesota team that's been really good this year, 34-23, playing above where they probably should have been all year. And so, yeah, good win for the Cavs, and let's hope that this is the point where they turn it around. And then with the DeAndre Jordan news, that the Cavs are still in the hunt for DeAndre Jordan. They want to go after him, and that was just, you know, in the last hour before we went on the air. So if the Cavs can get that, and you know, he's a dominant big man inside, aggressive rebounder, it could turn the season around for the Cavs. So I'm not giving up on LeBron yet.
I don't think you can ever give up on LeBron. 37 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds last night. I think it's fair to say that we saw playoff LeBron come a little early this year. But Rock, Tommy talked about the trades. Do the Cavs need to make a trade in order to make this thing right the ship, so to speak, or can they get through it? It's status quo.
I mean, I think they're a playoff team regardless, but to go further, they're going to need some interior defense. I know DeAndre Jordan, they're looking at him. There's guys available, but it seems like everyone's holding out for that Nets pick. And the Cavs, you know, with the uncertainty of LeBron, they're unwilling to move it. And, you know, I got to agree with that from a GM's perspective. You know, you go all in this year, you trade that pick, you know, to keep LeBron happy, and he bolts for, you know, LA. You're kind of in trouble next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And just so everybody knows, Rocky has a NBA trade deadline show today, 2:15, Rock, on YSN. So
2:15.
2:15. So we'll make sure everybody knows about that, because it's going to be good. It's our first crack at, you know, a trade deadline show. We're looking to do this on a regular basis, and Rocky's your guy for that. He's going to have, I believe, he's going to have some guests on the show to be able to cover some different teams, and obviously he's going to keep his eye on the Twitter sphere and keep everybody updated as this thing kind of unfolds. But getting back to, do the Cavs need to make a trade? What do you guys think? Is this something where they, like Rocky said, they can get by and scoot into the playoffs? Or do you think, I guess the better question is, what are they going to have to give up in order to get something worthwhile on their team?
Well, Rocky said it. I mean, it's the Nets pick. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And he hit it on the nail. It's either we're going all in this year, trying to win another championship and make a run deep, or we think that LeBron's bouncing and we're going to keep that pick. I mean, it's one or the other.
What are the head games that are going on in Cleveland right now? It seems like it's just all through the media. It seems like it's essentially Gilbert versus LeBron. Who comes out? Does anybody come out a winner at the end of this?
Yeah, the next owner of the Cavs, because Gilbert's going to sell. I mean, you know, he's going to be the savior. You know, if the Cavs don't win it this year, new owner's coming in. If he can keep LeBron, he's going to be, you know, the king of Cleveland.
Are there any kind of, I guess, anybody tipping their hand as to who the next owner could be?
I have no idea.
LeBron,
that would be. LeBron? Wouldn't that be great?
You think? Well, Here's the other. Do you think
I'm sure he could afford it.
Does he stay if he buys the team, or does he get in a fight with himself and trade himself to Los Angeles?
It'd be the perfect situation for him. Then he has nobody to blame but himself. So maybe he'd be happy for once. We just want LeBron to love us. We just want him to be happy.
We just want a hug from 23. That's all we've been looking for this entire time. You know what? The cool thing, though, last night, if you watch that game, was when he hit it at the buzzer in overtime, he puts his hands out in the air and kind of says, "Hey, Cleveland, this one's for you. I'm here. I'm here." So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. Rocky, we're excited to have the coverage. You have the coverage for us. And kind of see how this trade deadline, kind of unfolds. Will be interesting to see if the Cavs can make a move, or as many are saying and speculating, many moves that they're going to have to make to put this team back into contention for the Eastern Conference. This is going to be my favorite part of the show. I'm calling it right now. I'm Nostradamusing this thing. Guys, DFS, it's the heart and soul of fantasy sports right now. For those of you who don't know, it's daily fantasy sports. And Rocky has been a huge advocate. Tommy found out that he's a big advocate for DFS, been playing a long time. Guys, talk to me about DFS and why it's so important in today's society and why it's so addicting.
Go ahead, Rock.
Can we talk about the rain out last night?
Go ahead, man. Floor's yours.
Oh my gosh. Playing last night, I ended up sneaking in like one of the last spots in a $20 lineup. But I had Anthony Davis in one. And that rain out, I'm so frustrated. And then, DraftKings says, we can't do anything. It's natural. These rainouts happen. No one's refunding their money. Yeah, it rains inside always, DraftKings. Thanks a bunch.
So, I mean, for those that aren't familiar with it, talk to us about kind of how you set it up. I know there's several to choose from now. It used to be just DraftKings. It used to be, what's the other one?
FanDuel. FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo's involved. There's different, there's draft where it's almost like a natural, just your normal everyday fantasy draft on a snake draft style. DraftKings and FanDuel, definitely the two giant players in the game. But basically, on DraftKings you get $50,000, on FanDuel you get $60,000 to play with, and you have to fit a lineup under that salary cap. Naturally, players like Harden, Westbrook, LeBron, Durant, Embiid. I mean, your big name players, they're priced accordingly, $10,000 all the way up to $13,000. So if you can't get all those guys into your lineup, the key to daily fantasy sports is maximizing your points, maximizing your point potential. And sometimes, you have your everyday player who might just pick up and put in, one lineup without doing any research. Those are the guys that you want to play against, because the guys that follow the sport aggressively, they know about the injuries, they know about maybe some playing time limitations. They're all over the news. No matter what sport it is you're playing in fantasy sports, that's where you catch your value plays. That's where you catch guys that are maybe priced at 3,500 who might score 35 points. So then they get you 10 times value of their points. So it's we could sit here all day and try to explain to the average person how it works, but it's a learning process. Like with anything else, when you start playing daily fantasy sports, it's a learning process, because you have to learn how to become the top basically 10% of everybody who's playing. And there's multiple styles. You can play tournament style where you're playing against 50,000 people that have top heavy prizes, where the first place guy might get 100,000, the second place guy might get 20,000, and then the 10th place guy might get $800. So they try to draw you in, trying to hit those big numbers at the top, thinking you're going to finish first place. Very, very, very hard to do. But then also on the other side of the coin, there's 50-50 or cash games, to where a lot of guys and even a lot of financial institutions now are getting behind this as a way, almost like the stock market, because all you have to do is finish in the top 50% and you double your money. So Those are cash game plays. That's where you want to try to have the safest possible lineup that you can, to where you know that your points are going to get you at least into the top half, and you double your money. You got to be a little better in tournaments to cash the big money, because you're playing against 50,000 people, and there's a lot of randomized lineups, and guys are playing players that pretty much nobody else is going to play. But if they hit their lineups, they're differentiating their lineup, and they're going to fly up to the top. So, and like Rock said, last night is crazy because I didn't play, but they had Indianapolis and New Orleans got rained out in a basketball game. So, and there won a bunch of games last night. So anybody who played DFS last night and they had any Indiana Pacer or any New Orleans Pelican, they got 0 points for any player that played. And for example, Anthony Davis, Rocky talked about him, right? He's one of your big time players, $12,000 probably salary last night.
Oh yeah, close to it.
And he had 40% ownership I seen in one of the FanDuel tournaments. Guess what? Those 40% right there, 0 points, and they had no chance of cashing their lineup. So it's they say it's a game of skill, but at the same time, it's a gamble, because right there, you gambled on Anthony Davis, $12,400 salary, and he brought you nothing because of something that happens all the time in the NBA, right? Rock, we got rainouts all the time, right?
Yeah, for sure. I should have checked the weather.
So when you guys talk about this, I mean, is this something where anybody can play? Or, I mean, you said it best, Tommy, that it's a gamble. So is this something where you have to be 18 or older to contest it?
You have to be an adult, and you have to live in certain states, because some states in the United States of America have already put a ban on daily fantasy sports. So therefore, I'm not sure what the states are that aren't in there, but if Ohio is one of them, so that you can play. So we're okay here, but yeah, some states you cannot play, and there'll be more and more. I mean, there was a time there about a year and a half ago that they were really pushing, to regulate the industry, and it kind of has hit the back burner, and you don't hear too much about it anymore. But there's a lot of guys that are making a lot of money playing daily fantasy sports. So I'm sure sooner or later somebody in DC is going to get a bug up their butt, and they're going to try to do something to regulate the industry, or to try to set back or set forward the industry. So we'll see. It's interesting. I'm telling you, there's so much that we could talk about when it comes to daily fantasy sports. I mean, don't matter what it is: golf, hockey, football, basketball, baseball is huge. Every one of these are huge for daily fantasy sports. And there's guys that wake up every morning, and just like we're doing now, they do a podcast where they share their thoughts, on their plays, and then they spend the rest of the day basically narrowing down a player pool. And before 7 o'clock lineup block, they're dumping in their lineups, and they're making a ton of money. But if anybody's listening, I'm telling you right now, if you want to fool around with it and play a few lineups, that's fine. But if you want to take it seriously and try to make an investment in it and invest money into the industry, you need time, because you truly, truly have to spend time, just like any other craft in life. You have to spend time on your craft, and it'll pay off, because you're already ahead of probably 30-40% of the people playing daily fantasy sports if you actually do your homework.
Very interesting stuff. Rocky, what drew you to DFS?
I just, I like watching sports. I like being into it. I think it's a way to be able to kind of care about the games more. Especially if there's like a crap game going on between two awful teams, especially for football. You pay attention to the game more. You want to watch it more. You want to see how the player does. I do it for fun mainly. I like watching, watching basketball nightly. So to be able to add a little bit extra to it, for a couple bucks is all right by me.
Now you've won a couple decent size paydays, if you will. You and Greg, your brother, both have done your research. You've kind of paid your dues, and like Tommy said, you spent your time and invested it, and had a couple big paydays. What was your biggest payday so far?
I think it was 400 on $8 lineup or something like that. I mean, really, I think really, you do the research, but I love playing DFS basketball, especially around trade deadline time, because opportunity opens up. And opportunity, is the number one thing in basketball. Like for tonight, for example, you got the Knicks taking on the Raptors. Porzingis tore his ACL; he's out for the season. So I was earlier this week when that happened. I was like, okay, well maybe Willie Herman Gomez, a backup forward there, is going to have some value. Then the Knicks go and trade him. So someone's going to eat up those minutes. And
Kyle O'Quinn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Kyle O'Quinn. I was looking for his price actually right now as we're doing this.
He's going to be cheap. He's going to be cheap.
He's got to be almost dirt cheap.
Do you use Fantasy Labs or anything, Rocky?
I use Roto Grinders. I do pay attention to Fantasy Labs on Twitter though.
Okay. Yeah, Kyle, on the Fantasy Labs, they actually have a system because, as Rocky talked about, basketball is the one with the least variation, in my opinion. It's basketball is all about the numbers. Pretty much the guys are going to get this many minutes, barring injury or rainouts. This many minutes. They're going to take. You're going to have this much usage. By this time of the season, the pace that these teams play at. The over/unders. So basketball, for me, is the one fantasy sport that actually has the most value and the most potential to become profitable and actually make money. And it's funny, I pulled Fantasy Labs up now. Rocky, guess who the number one ranked player is tonight?
O'Quinn.
Kyle O'Quinn. Yep. 4,000. He's 4,000 on FanDuel. So think about this, DJ. I know you're a rookie at this. Kyle O'Quinn, he's projected at 26.5 points tonight at $4,000. So guess what? They're basically projecting that he's 6 times his value already. So you have a $60,000 salary on FanDuel. If everybody hits 6 times salary, you have 360 points. It's going to cash you a nice ticket on FanDuel. 360 is going to be a nice ticket. So Kyle O'Quinn's somebody that you'd want to probably definitely lock into a cash game, and he possibly could be fadeable in tournaments because a lot of people are going to be on Kyle O'Quinn because that's a huge value for him. So that comes back to that whole differentiating yourself in tournaments at 25-30% owned. If he flops, then you just jumped ahead of 30% of the people that are playing. So something to think about.
Sorry, do you see this as a bubble? I mean, I know I've invested in some cryptocurrency because my buddy told me it's the thing to do. Fantasy football, I mean, fantasy's been around for a long time. I remember being on dial-up, being introduced to fantasy baseball and drafting a team, not knowing anything about what I did, just for fun, as probably a 11, 12-year-old. And here I sit, 22 years later, and we're talking about fantasy football, daily fantasy basketball. So is this something that you think that it's just a bubble and it's going to pop eventually someday?
For me, no, absolutely not. I mean, I think it's the future. I think it's the future of sports. Honestly, it's what's going to keep, we talked about, live sports. Is it going away? Is it fading? Are people not watching as much live sports on TV? Well, this is saving it. Like Rocky said, you got, on a Thursday night, you might have, 2 deadbeat teams playing, but hey, there's going to be a lot of people watching because of daily fantasy sports. If DraftKings or FanDuel became public companies, I'd be all over their stocks, all over it, because they're huge and they're making a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. So I think it's in its infant stages, to be honest with you. I really do. I agree. I think that it's going to just explode and explode and explode because, like I said, you can make money at it.
Rock, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I mean, obviously, at some point, regulation is going to come into play. I think we all kind of expect that, but I don't think it's going to be bad. I think we can gamble from Ohio in Las Vegas if we want on the internet. Everyone just moved their operations to Las Vegas, and then we'd probably be able to do some college DFS like we used to be able to back in the day. So, I mean, I think it's here to stay. It's going to go through some changes. I mean, we see changes all the time, right? With DraftKings now doing single game fantasy contest, FanDuel experimenting with some single game NBA earlier in the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, there's going to be some changes, but overall, I think it's here to stay.
I thought the single game Super Bowl was awesome too, Rock. What about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't watch the game because I was protesting, but I did have a free lineup on DraftKings. So
we talked about the protesting thing, kind of not of an inside joke, but the back and forth Rock and I during the Super Bowl. And after it was over, he just sends a text. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" And I texted him back. I said, "I thought you weren't watching the game." He said, "I watched the last 56 seconds." So that's
all you needed. That's all you needed to watch.
That
was one of the funniest things that happened during the Super Bowl, and I appreciate Rock, again his hilarious texts all through the night. Okay, guys. Last thoughts on DFS. Last question for you guys. If this is very much in its infancy, is this something you can see trickling down back to the college game and then even further down? Do you think it could end up eventually in the high school setting?
I'll let you take that, Rock.
College sports was around, I think, just a couple of years ago. I enjoyed playing it. But then it was around that time where they started complaining a little bit more about, NCAA football and the game. I think it'll trickle back down to there. I think it could trickle to high school, but I think it's going to need some type of charitable, aspect to make it work. I guess that's my.
That's fair enough. So basically, if the Boys and Girls Club of America, for instance, said, "Hey, we want to do this. All money invested is going to be, put into a fund, and the winner gets a little bit, but all the rest of the money goes to charity." You think that would work?
Yeah, something like that probably would be the only way I see. It could work.
It would have to be something to that matter, because it's too, at the high school level and even at the college level, with how many universities there are that play Division I football, basketball, etc. Too easy to become and get inside information.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Brings it back to the fact that it's still a gamble. Remember that. It's still
gambling. Thank you guys very much for that. For me, I know very little about it. I do have accounts in multiple ones. Obviously I play fantasy football, but it's not something that I do every day, and something I've been looking forward to and kind of getting some clarity. And I know there's a lot of people, Rock, when you do your shows, that have more questions than answers, and you're able to guide them. So hats off to you, and Tommy, great job. For you kind of breaking it down for the people that don't know as much. So maybe they can, get involved and make some money.
We could go all week, huh, Rock? We could go all week on daily fantasy sports.
If they're going to join tonight, though, give a shot to Yahoo. If you use code Leaky Roof, they'll give you a little extra money on your first deposits.
Isn't that what you were on Twitter, and you and Greg decided that you were going to try to hit up DraftKings? They didn't give you any of your money back. So Yahoo, somebody over at Yahoo is giving you guys a shot?
Daily Fantasy over at Yahoo ended up messaging us and saying, "Hey guys, use code Leaky Roof. Come on over to Yahoo." And Yahoo, hats off to them. They refunded everyone's money that didn't place. So they paid out the guys that placed and the guys that didn't. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
Wow. And I did not know that. That's awesome.
For those of you who don't know and are not following, it's not Friday. It is Thursday. But Rocky posed the question: is Follow Friday still a thing? I don't know. I'm more of a Facebook guy than a Twitter guy. But I gotta change my ways. As you've told me, as one of the guys at YSN, because I feel like I'm falling behind all these kids and Instagram and Snapchat and stuff like that. But if you are on Twitter, make sure you follow Rocky, and it's YSN Rocky, right?
Yep, at YSN Rocky.
At YSN Rocky. Make sure you follow
Rocky.
him.
We'll have to get exchange numbers. We need to start putting out a lineup every day, right, and do like a lineup battle between anybody who wants to come on board, I guess. But
yeah.
You know what? You guys might be onto something. That might be something that we can put together, and you guys battle out the people of YSN. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be a kind of a thing, and you guys can DFS it together and FSD, whatever. I mean, whatever.
I'm a tinkerer. I will tinker up until 1 minute left.
Right. Me too.
9,000 times. And
And if those of you who are not familiar, Rocky does have a fantasy football show every Sunday during the football season, and it was really, really well received. Rock, there was a lot of people who were not even familiar with YSN who became familiar due to your show. So congrats on the great work that you put together. Uncorked Podcast was a booming success, and then now you're onto the Social Circus. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to cover tweets and Facebook posts and all sorts of fun stuff from local, statewide, national, and give a little analysis on it. Today, we're going to cover a lot of beat writers for a live show involving the NBA trade deadline. I've got my NBA beat writers list up as we speak. I'm kind of going through some things. I know the Will Gilroy from the New Orleans Pelicans. He's a New Orleans Pelicans beat writer. Just posted something about the latest rumors and everything. So we're gonna cover all that for you guys today and try to give instant analysis and all that fun stuff. So,
where can they find your show today for the trade deadline?
Oh, what is our YouTube page?
Oh man, we're on it right now. So we'll put it.
If you guys are watching this now, then
be there.
It'll be like this, but different.
I'll tell you what we can do is I will try to do the embed on ysnlive.com so people can watch on YSN Live. Maybe I'll send a text out to our technical director, Brian Scott, and the president of the company and say, hey, maybe this needs to be on Facebook Live, because I think that if he could show us how to do it, it'd be nice to have it on Facebook Live every morning. But I think you're way more technical savvy than I am. And that Tommy, that you are. So if we can get you on Facebook Live, that during 2:15 might not be a bad thing. So keep your eye open. It'll definitely be on YouTube, but it'll definitely be on YSN Live. But we're shooting for Facebook Live as well. Is that fair?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so keep your eyes posted. 2:15 today. Rocky will have the trade deadline show. He'll bring you all the updates. He also is you're the host. I don't know. You'll have guest stars and guest hosts in this at the social under the Social Circus, and it's a great show. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you tweet hashtag at him, whatever you kids are saying nowadays, because it's based purely around social media. It's Facebook, Twitter, all of them, Instagram, whatever, all of them that you kids are down with. Rocky's down with it too. He does a great job. So make sure you give him some love. Guys, today is the day that everybody's been waiting for. The Olympics start. I mean, tell me what are your feelings on the Olympics. I know there's some people that love them, some people that don't care. They start at 6:30 today with mixed doubles and curling. USA versus SUI on the NBC Sports Network. Will you be watching? Will you be riveted?
Oh, my schedule's cleared. I mean, I'm not going to miss winter curling. Come on. I didn't even know the Olympics started today.
Oh, come on.
I didn't. I thought it was tomorrow.
The opening ceremony is tomorrow, which makes no sense to me. But believe it or not, it starts today.
Oh, man.
And if you can't get enough curling at 8:30, it's going to be mixed doubles with China. Okay, so if you can't get enough of America at 6:30, hang around till 8:30 because China is going to be on there, and also figure skating and freestyle skiing on your local NBC affiliate. So make sure you tune in for that, guys. I mean, are the Olympics relevant anymore? I mean, let's be straight. I mean, as a kid, it was exciting, especially for us, because we saw the Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan drama that was WWE-esque. Is it relevant anymore? Are you watching on with bated breath?
No. I don't know. I mean, you know what I do like? It's weird that I probably will watch like when the figure skating gets down to the end. I don't know. I guess it is the Kerrigan Harding thing that got me into watching figure skating. Not that I follow it all year round or, between Olympics, but like I will watch the figure skating. I don't know why, but that's probably the only thing I'll watch.
You can never make fun of anybody ever again.
Toe pick.
Figure skating. What was the figure skating movie with Will Ferrell that came out a few years back? What was that? What was that called with the guy that looks like Nick Foles?
Oh my goodness.
John Heater or whatever his name was. That's the kind of ice skating and figure skating that I want to watch. Rocky, are you watching the Olympics this year?
No, I'm not watching the Winter Olympics. I mean, this has got to be on like the marketers of America, right? Like they have done such a great job of promoting the Summer Olympics and instilling that national pride when you watch it. And whereas the Winter Olympics, it was like, okay, Kerrigan and Harding. Okay, watch figure skating. Okay, whatever. Like they just don't promote it well, I feel like. And I mean, there's something missing from the Winter Olympics to the Summer Olympics, really.
I mean, I see the obviously the promos on TV as it gets closer because NBC wants you to watch because obviously they need ratings. But I mean, when you're facing off, I mean, obviously it's after the Super Bowl for a reason, right? They don't want to compete with football. But Shaun White is the only Olympian that I really know. Is Lindsey Vonn still there? I mean, she had that thing with Tiger that made news, and
I think I saw her in like a magazine ad or something.
Yeah, like Brody Miller. I think he's working for NBC now. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't watch with bated breath. I have 3 TVs. I turn it on one of them, and I'll watch something else on the other 2.
Here's the problem, DJ. All the cool stuff's in the Summer Olympics. You know, it doesn't, you know, I'm going through the list here. There ain't nothing cool on here that I want to watch. I mean, baseball's in the Summer Olympics, basketball's in the Summer Olympics. I mean,
you don't watch bobsledding?
Track and fields in the summer. You know what? I do. I will watch bobsledding. If it's on when I flip through NBC, I will watch bobsledding. And that's only because of why.
Cool runnings.
Cool runnings, right. Back to our childhood again.
For curling, I'm interested in curling because when I watch it, I don't understand it fully. I get the concept of it. It's like bocce on ice. So watch it. You know, I can watch bocce all day. For some reason, I'm weird like that. But curling's interesting to me. I like skiing. I think skiing, like the was it slalom that they have to bounce left and right for. I think that's cool. It's appealing to me. I'm not a big Summer Olympics guy, especially after they kicked out baseball and they became the World Classic or the Baseball Classic or whatever it is. But I think that it's an interesting time. There's not a whole lot of sports going on other than basketball, and it's a filler until I guess closer to March Madness. So I'll watch.
I'll just continue to watch reruns of Friends or something.
This is where we finally draw the line in the sand. I watch the Olympics and you watch reruns of Friends.
That's it.
All right, guys. So obviously nobody's watching the Olympics. Well, maybe I am, but it's not like I have a DVR or anything. So will America be watching?
Yes, you do, don't you? You do got a DVR.
Listen, I specifically set up there's 15% left on my DVR, and I just need that little bit so I can watch the Jamaican bobsled team make a run at it again. It's been a few years. So, Sanka, you dead, man?
There is a Jamaican bobsled team this year, too. A women's Jamaican bobsled team.
Look out.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yep.
I wonder if they have a lucky egg or not. I don't know. Hey, there's a parade in Philly today, guys. The question is, will Philly still be standing after it's all said and done? Rock, you first.
It's going to be the opposite of what everyone thinks. It's going to, like, Philadelphia is going to shine today with the city of brotherly love. Everyone's just going to be hugging and loving each other, and it's going to like be the opposite of what everyone wants out of a Philly parade. It's going to be real boring. I'm calling it.
Tommy, what do you think?
I actually agree. I think that they went so ham over the past 4 days that today is just going to be a nice celebration for the city of Philadelphia. Nothing crazy is going to happen, and I mean, I'm sure there'll be issues because there'll be some idiots in the crowd, guaranteed. But I don't think it'll be an all-out massacre like people are thinking it's going to be. So
throw Crisco on the polls. I am calling for Philadelphia to explode this morning. Actually, it's probably it's getting started here in about 10 minutes. So As soon as you're done watching the burrito, make sure you flip on TV because it's going to make national news one way or the other. But I am on the other side of the fence from you guys. I think that it's going to be an absolute massacre. I think that there's going to be things on fire. It's going to be I don't even know what's left of Philadelphia as is, but I can guarantee you that whatever's left will probably not be standing after it's all said and done. I fully anticipate Philadelphia will be Philadelphia and Philly instead of dilly, and they're going to light that baby up. So it'll be interesting. I have Sarah's uncle is actually left Pittsburgh to be in the Philly because he's a huge Eagles fan, and I'm praying for him right now because I'm not so certain that it's going to be the good news that you're hoping for on the 6 o'clock news tonight out of the dirtbag city.
Is Lane Johnson paying up on his promise tonight? Is that
what do you mean?
Everyone in Philadelphia beer if they win the Super Bowl? Yeah. I believe he said that on like Twitter or in an interview that if they won the Super Bowl, now he said it back in August, if they win the Super Bowl, he's going to give the whole city beer. I'm like,
Well, that's not a good idea. That's probably not his best moment.
So maybe if that happens, then maybe chaos.
I can only imagine how much Bud Light or Miller Lite is in Philadelphia right now because I mean, like I said, man, they've got to. It's going to be bad. I just pray for Philadelphia, guys. Hashtag pray for Philadelphia. That's all it needs to be said because I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. It's going to be one of those. We're not affiliated with the FCC or anything like that, but it's going to be a crap show. I completely think that. It's going to be much like it was the other night. Did you guys see at halftime they were burning stuff? Like they were up like 5 points at half, and the city was on fire. They are throwing a parade for these people. They like imagine that. Like the bad kid in class gets free reign. They're just going to let them fly. So
I'm just banking on they're just all worn out. It's Thursday. They've had time to calm down or get over their Super Bowl hangover. But
how long did it take you to get over when the Steelers won the Super Bowl?
Let's see. The last one was Arizona, right?
Yep.
Yep. I mean, I was excited for about a week. Yeah.
I'm still excited for the Steelers winning the Super Bowl. Like they've been to another Super Bowl, and I'm still excited from Super Bowl 43. I mean, that's what I'm scared of. There's fans out there, psychotic fans like myself, that bleed. What do they call them? The dirty birds? No, that's the Falcons. What's the other ones? The fuzzy? I don't know what it is, but they call them, fly Eagles fly. And when your city has to grease the light poles with Crisco, there might be an issue. Kind of like the Jeff Foxworthy. There might be an issue, and that was the NFC Championship, and it wasn't even in their city. Trust me, you're going to have some headlines out of Philadelphia this afternoon, and I'm promising you they're not going to be good. I just hope that they don't kill somebody, like literally kill one of the Eagles, because I remember being at the Super Bowl parade for the Steelers when Troy Polamalu jumped into the crowd. These people booed Santa Claus and threw stuff at Santa Claus. Can you imagine if Nick Foles jumps into the crowd, and he might not need a contract because you might never see him again. He might go into somebody's house, like dragged in there, like one of these movies, like taking him away. So, guys, I'm scared. Am I the only one that's scared for
I mean, you're selling me on this now. I mean, I'm thinking about canceling my curling watching and turning into this Eagles parade. So, and you're selling me on this.
Well, dude,
I think you're gonna be let down though. I do. I really do. But we'll see. You never know. It's Philly. They're crazy.
Let me put it this way. It won't be the first time or last time that Philadelphia will let me down.
Yeah. I just keep thinking of like heads on pikes and everything else. And like, I'm trying to imagine your scenario here. It's like real archaic and just nuts.
There's going to be lions and tigers and bears and eagles.
Someone let the zoo loose. They're running the streets. People are crying. It's haunting.
I just know, like, I say this, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but in Pittsburgh, there's a route. We've done it, seemingly as many, many, many times, right? With the Penguins' success, the Steelers' success, The Pirates, way, 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 way in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, we've done it. Philadelphia, now they've had the Phillies. Obviously, I think the 76ers won at one point. They're the only out of four cities. They're the one out of four that have won, like a basketball, a hockey, a baseball, and now a football championship. So they've done it before, but never for the Eagles. And the Eagles, truly, outside of the Flyers, are the heartbeat of that city. Agree or disagree?
I mean, I think it's an Eagles town more than it is a Phillies town or a Sixers town. But trust the process, because it might be a Sixers town before you know it. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles, just like the Steelers are the heart and soul of Pittsburgh, I think the Eagles are the heart and soul of Philadelphia. Definitely the craziest fans. Yeah,
the Eagles definitely embody the spirit of the city. They're the Rocky of the town. They're the underdogs. They're, it's an Eagles town.
And the Eagles town is going to be burning down tonight. I'm calling it. Name one celebrity you expect to see at this parade.
Oh, I don't know.
You think Stallone will be there? Think Sly will be there?
Stallone and Kevin Hart.
Oh my goodness, Kevin Hart. Are you kidding me with that? Oh my gosh. Did you see that, Tommy?
No.
Rocky, the floor is yours.
Oh my gosh, Kevin Hart was a mess at the Super Bowl. He tried to get on stage during the the trophy presentation. He actually wants to thank the security guard that didn't let him on stage, because he said he saved him from a lot of embarrassment. He went on the NFL Network, post-game show and ended up dropping the F-bomb, and he was just a mess. He was absolutely a mess.
How did I hear about that?
When you have to be reined in by Deion Sanders.
Yeah, right.
there's an issue. They let him, and the funny thing is, they let him talk. They let him get up on the podium on the NFL Network set, and Chris Rose. I think if you look and you see the fear in Chris Rose's eyes when you look at that video, because he knows as a host that something bad is about to happen. And then you got LT right next to him, and he's just kind of sitting there like, what is happening? Because I think they could either smell him or they could tell that Kevin Hart was absolutely ripped out of his mind. And then when he gets up and he starts talking, I forget who they had on stage. It was an Eagle. And it was like, it wasn't a prominent name or anything. I think it was the guy with the good story about how, they won the championship and, how long it took for him to get there. But regardless, I mean, I'm not trying to understate his story, but Kevin Hart stole the show when he gets up and he gets up and drops the F-bomb, and Deion gets up and he goes, "You gotta go. You gotta go." And he's like laughing hysterically, trying to get Kevin off the stage, because once Kevin said it, he just goes, oh, and then he's taken off the stage. So it was real interesting. Not only real interesting, it was really fun to watch from an entertainment standpoint. So Kevin Hart, one of my favorite comedians of all time, but man, take it easy on the cranberry and vodkas, my friend. It was not your moment. So
that's a great story.
Dude, it was. You got to YouTube it.
I will.
Yeah, check out
Boom Goes the Dynamite Kid. Yeah.
Boom Goes Rock. Can you believe that Tommy's never seen the Boom Goes Dynamite guy?
That's crazy. He's actually like successful now. Like he's a sportscaster and everything. So I believe last I checked.
Yep, and I'm telling you, Tommy, after you watch it, man, you're gonna say it. First off, you're gonna say it about 600 times. Every time you do an East Liverpool game, you're gonna say "Boom Goes the Dynamite" at least twice during that game. I think I've even heard Anson say it. So
no, McMahon did it with me down at Edison.
That's what it was.
And he said "Boom Goes the Dynamite," and I laughed at it because I thought it was funny when he said it, but I didn't know it had any meaning behind it whatsoever. So I'm definitely gonna, as soon as we got off the air, I'm gonna check it out. I promise.
We'll throw for all of you who don't or haven't seen it, we'll throw a link on our page and on our Twitter so you can take a look at it. So that's it for the show, boys. Rocky, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, Rocky Brown, tune into the Social Circus, but also tune into his show on the NBA deadline at 2:15 this afternoon, right here on ysnlive.com and on YouTube, and hopefully on Facebook. We'll see if we can talk to El Presidente and make that happen. Sir, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Breakfast Burrito. And anything else you want to plug while you're here?
Nope, not really. Well, thanks for having me, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, man. We'll have you back whenever you have some time allotted. So, it was a great experience, and hopefully we'll be able to get Greg on the show as well, and everybody else here at YSN. So thanks so much, brother. Tommy, Mr. Pease, thank you so much for another great show, and go look up Boom Goes the Dynamite Kid.
I'm on it.
All right, brother. That's it for us. Thank you so much. They puts a wrap on the burrito for this morning. Episode 9 in the books. Check in with us tomorrow, Free Agent Friday. Who's going to be our guest superstar here on the burrito? Thanks so much for joining us. It's a great day. Make it yours. Take care, everybody.